app, available for iOS and Android.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Aaron Saxon Associates.
Now at 9, the city of Neosho asked voters to decide on a new aquatic center.
It's less than 1 week until the Cherokee County Sheriff-elect takes office. I'm Samantha Walker, and coming up, we'll have the details on that transition process.
As you start to turn on those warming devices, don't forget about carbon monoxide poisoning. I'm Lonnie Walton in Joplin. I talked to the fire chief, and he said there are tips to help protect yourself. I'll have that story and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The city of Neosho wants to build a new aquatic center, but first it needs a green light from voters. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Tonight, the Neosho, Missouri Council voted to add a question to the April 8th ballot, asking Neosho voters to approve a use tax to help fund a new aquatic center. The current city pool has been plagued with issues. Before the 2023 season, the city repainted and resealed the pool and replaced the pump and motor system. It's currently operated by the Neosho Freeman Family YMCA. In December, the city asked residents to fill out a survey to see what they'd like in a new outdoor aquatic center and recreation area. Now, the plan is to build it just west of the Neosho Golf Course near Waldo Hatler Memorial Drive and Hale McGinty Drive. Potential amenities include a new outdoor swimming pool, pickleball courts, an inclusive playground, and renovating the current golf clubhouse facility. The use tax would match the city's current 3% sales tax and would apply to items purchased from out-of-state vendors where no sales tax is applied.
If you shop online, you do pay a state of Missouri tax at the state of Missouri tax rate, 4.4225%. What the city council is asking is the 3% local sales tax that you would normally pay at local brick and mortar stores, that you would pay that amount also online for online purchases.
Now, if the aquatic center funding question passes on the April ballot, consumers would only be required to fill out a use tax return if yearly purchases exceed $2,000. Well, a new report from the Jasper County Sheriff's Office gives us a look at crime in the county last year. According to the Sheriff's Office, detectives kept busy. Numbers show after no homicide investigations in 2023, the department investigated 3 last year. All 3 were cleared. Domestic assault cases, crimes against children, and felony stealing cases all increased as well. And we have a link to the full report on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, in less than 1 week, the Cherokee County Sheriff-elect will take office. Brian Henderson won the election in November with more than 78% of the vote. And today, he spoke with KOAM Samantha Walker about his transition into the new role.
It's just been a lot of speaking with people and preparing for this big jump.
Brian Henderson is just days away from stepping into the role of Cherokee County Sheriff, a position David Groves has held for the past 15 years. With decades of experience in law enforcement, Henderson has been spending the time since Election Day preparing for the new role.
A lot of meetings with current staff that will be staying with us and working with us, and a lot of just finding out not only what their needs are, but what their job roles are so that we can fully understand.
Prior to the election, Henderson was the police chief of Baxter Springs. City Council has since appointed Jimmy Hamilton as interim chief, and Henderson worked with the department through December to help transition him into the role. In a statement to KOAM following his appointment, Hamilton said Henderson had the department on a really good path and that he wanted to keep it headed in that direction. Henderson has also chosen an undersheriff, Chip Root, who he's known for decades and previously worked with at the Joplin Police Department.
We're not afraid to have a conversation that we may not agree on, but we both can come to the table and at the end of the day walk away with a unified front, knowing that we're making the best decision.
I love this county. I love the people, and now that my career is over in Missouri and Joplin, I have the opportunity to give back to my own community, and that's what I'm eager to get going.
Henderson says some of the goals he has early on is to sit down and build stronger relationships with department employees and community members. He says he wants to work closely with other agencies for advice and assistance and wants to make Cherokee County a safe place that people want to visit.
That trust is a bond that's constantly being built. It's not just walking in day one and saying, trust me, but it's a constant building a bond with them, and not only with the employees, but the community.
Reporting in Cherokee County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Sheriff Henderson will begin his new job on Monday. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, of course, a cold one outside today, but we had the sunshine, which was nice to see, but our temperature only up to 27. Started at 10, well below our average high of 44, record high 73 set back on this date. It's cold now, upper teens to near 20 outside. At least we are dry. 17 in Stockton, 22 in Neosho, 19 Bella Vista, Miami 21, Chanute is sitting at 18 degrees, and our wind chill will drop back through the night. It's going to feel like -5 to about 0, and then 0 to about 5 once you get into our southern counties. We are tracking another storm system, a weak system, but still could give us some snow. A band of light snow showers working in late Thursday afternoon into Thursday and into Thursday night. So we're going to break this down for you here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. We often try to warm up our homes and even our vehicles when temperatures are falling, but it is important to be mindful of the odorless, silent killer, carbon monoxide. KOAM's Lonnie Walton talks to experts on how you can better prepare yourself against this dangerous poisoning.
The death in the sleep is probably the most common.
Leif Hasty is a battalion fire chief at Reddings Mill Fire District in Joplin. He says based on his nearly 20 years of experience, some people are just unaware of the deadly poison carbon monoxide until it's too late.
They felt that they had the headache, they went to go lay down, and the problem persisted. Just inhale whatever's in their home, being fed into their home, and it could possibly just kill them. So
Hasty says there's a few things to look out for.
we ask that you call someone professional to come inspect it, make sure it's working right, look at the flame itself, and see that you have a good blue burning flame.
Although there are tips to help protect yourself, the fire chief says it's better to just invest in a device that measures carbon monoxide.
Getting an alarm. The alarm is going to be the best guess for anything if something actually is happening.
Dale Owens is the owner of S&S Security Systems. He, along with Hasty, says everyone should have a carbon monoxide detector. Owens says companies are starting to take notice and make a one device fits all.
For a long time they were separate. You had to get either smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Now we're seeing a combination of those units beginning to be produced on the marketplace.
Hasty says you should know how the detector works and when to change it.
Certain chirps will just tell you you have a bad detector or your batteries are bad, and kind of relieves the stress a little bit.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Hasty also emphasizes you should never close your garage door immediately after you shut off your vehicle. You should always wait a few minutes to allow the exhaust to leave. Well, coming up, a first for the U.S.
The first person in the U.S. dies from bird flu, but health officials still are not concerned about it spreading to the public. I'm Brian Yennis in New York with more details coming up.
Also, with millions across the country under the grasp of bone-chilling temperatures, doctors are sounding the alarm, citing the risk for frostbite and hypothermia. We've got tips to keep yourself safe this winter. The first person in the U.S. has died from bird flu in Louisiana. The patient, who had contact with both domestic and wild birds, also had underlying health conditions. And as Fox News correspondent Brian Yennis reports, despite how contagious bird flu is, health officials say the risk of contracting the disease is low for the public.
The first bird flu death in the U.S. has been confirmed, but health officials still are not worried about the risk to the general public.
It's not circulating in humans, but it is jumping into humans who are exposed, particularly those exposed to poultry or to the dairy cattle.
The patient who died Monday lived in Louisiana, was over 65, and reportedly had underlying health conditions. The patient was also exposed to both backyard chickens and wild birds, the main carriers of the disease.
Where we're seeing most of the movement from animal to human, but we're not seeing sustained circulation.
Farm workers in close contact with poultry and cattle are the group at the most risk. Still, bird flu mortality remains very low, and patients most susceptible are those with vulnerable immune systems.
It is not a new virus. It was first identified in 2001. It's been in the human population for a long time. It is a common virus that circulates in winter and spring. It usually causes respiratory symptoms similar to the common cold.
But one way people can protect themselves is by getting a flu shot and
not drinking raw milk or unpasteurized milk products, because the risk is just increasing in dairy cattle in California.
over the past year, the CDC has confirmed more than 65 cases of bird flu nationwide. 37 of them have been reported in California. In New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
Well, as millions endure frigid temperatures across the country, health experts are sounding the alarm about the risk of winter injuries such as frostbite and hypothermia. If you or someone you know start experiencing symptoms, here are some tips. Seek a warm place, remove wet clothing, and gently warm the affected areas of your body. If symptoms worsen, get medical attention. It's crucial to avoid using hot water for rewarming. Well, some people with long COVID could be helped with an extended treatment of Paxlovid. A study by UC San Francisco found that more than a third of long COVID patients who took Paxlovid for 2 weeks saw improvement with symptoms like fatigue, headache, and brain fog. The CDC estimates 1 in 13 adults has long COVID. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, a presidential goodbye.
Washington says goodbye to former President Jimmy Carter. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with a look at how the nation's capital is remembering the 39th president.
Chilean cinnamon rolls. Join us.
Well, it turned out to be another cold one outside for us today. Temperatures really just couldn't warm up. Most of us mid to upper 20s across the region, well below where we should be for this time of the year. Great shot, Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Tower Cam, of course, looking downtown Joplin. Getting cold. 17 in Stockton, 16 in Fort Scott, 18 in Neodesha, 21 in Nowata, 22 at Grand Lake, 24 in Anderson. Carthage is sitting at 20 degrees, and our temperatures will continue to drop tonight. In fact, our feels like temperature, it'll make it with a light breeze, it'll feel like it's -5 to 0 to about 2 or 3 degrees above zero by morning. Pretty much clear skies, not a whole bunch going on here. We are tracking our next wave, little spin down through parts of Arizona into New Mexico. We have another little wave that's coming right out across the Pacific Northwest. Once that chunk of energy slides down into this trough, it'll push this little wave out into the Central Plains. It's not a big storm system by any means, but because it's taking such a far southern track, it's going to pull up some of that Gulf of Mexico moisture as we get into Thursday. But instead of like this last system for winter weather, we were right on the southern extent. This time, we're going to be right on the northern extent. Temperatures down near 10 by morning. Will warm into lower 20s by noon. By the afternoon, most of us 26, 27, 28 degrees. Clouds increase tomorrow night into Thursday morning. Most of Thursday is going to be dry. Through the morning, we're going to warm into the mid-30s, but a band of light snow showers will start to spread in, mainly after 3 p.m. So periods of light snow showers through Thursday evening, hit and miss, very scattered. Scattered light snow showers continue through the night and then into Friday morning, and then this system will track right on off toward the east. But it's not going to drop a lot of snow for us, but some areas will get some accumulation. Let's go north of I-44, mainly minor accumulation, so we're looking at under an inch. I-44 and south, 1, maybe 2 inches, but the heavier snow by far is going to stay south of the region. Not a big deal, but again, could make some of the roads a little bit slick, so we'll say low road impacts by the time this storm system starts to work through. Day planner on your Wednesday, 14 in the morning, 22 by noon. High temp, 27 degrees. And if we go down the road, you see, here's our little system on Thursday that kicks out. Behind it, we stay cold, but we do see a brief warm up Saturday. Another system kind of slides in, giving us a slight chance for a few showers late Sunday into Monday, and then kind of keeps us cold, but not Arctic air cold. The Arctic air is retreating, just kind of cold. 27 tomorrow, 37 on Thursday, 34 on Friday with those morning snow showers. 41 Saturday, and then 30s again Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Temperature is still cold, but at least better than what we have seen.
Yes, I like to see the lows going up. They've
That's good news.
It's been really cold. Yeah, we need a break. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, KDOT plans to hold more meetings on the future of the Highway 69 corridor. You may recall a freeway project with plans to expand Highway 69 west of Pittsburgh was canceled in 2023. After that, KDOT started project planning from scratch. Since then, KDOT has hosted a series of public meetings and open houses to give the public a chance to weigh in on the future of the highway and some of the lingering concerns and deal with the issue of cost versus benefits of any plans for the highway. KDOT says their next round of meetings will take place in late February. Well, coming up, a growing economy.
A meeting to discuss economic growth in Cherokee County was held in Columbus today. I'm Melissa Alexis, and I'll have more on the story.
Join us for comics, cosplay, and fun at Art.
Well, Americans traveling overseas will need to jump through new hoops starting tomorrow, filling out extra paperwork and shelling out more cash. Britain now requires U.S. citizens to have an electronic travel authorization to come to the UK. The digital registration costs just over $12 and is good for 2 years, for visits up to 6 months. The new rule applies to citizens of more than 36 other countries.
Across the world, countries are saying we actually want to know about people who are coming here before they touch down at our airports, and therefore every American who wants to travel to or through the UK is going to have to go online.
Well, the visa waiver is the UK equivalent of America's ESTA, or a mandatory paid-for authorization to travel with security clearance done in advance. And later this year, 30 other European countries will require Americans to apply for travel permission before they fly. Economic growth could be on the horizon for Cherokee County. County leaders held a strategic planning meeting in Columbus today to discuss plans for growing the county's economy. KOAM's Melissa Alexis was there.
There's a lot of growth potential here.
Growth. That's what the city administrator of Columbus hopes to see happen across Cherokee County.
I think there's a lot to like about Columbus.
And that's why residents and business owners gathered at the Lunch and Learn at the community building in Columbus to figure out a plan to help Cherokee County thrive.
An opportunity to start a conversation. Really, it's just meant to be a broad conversation about what the needs are.
The city administrator of Columbus, Jake Lettner, says they're looking to build on some of their past efforts.
In the past, we've offered some different grant opportunities and some low-interest loan opportunities. We're here today to try to figure out where the needs are and try to best put together programs and services that'll meet their needs.
He says he's proud of Columbus's progress, but one roadblock he notices is population size.
Over time, we've dwindled. Our population has declined, so really we're trying to stem that tide.
Over the last 10 years or more, we've gone down every year in population. So we want to stimulate some growth, stimulate a reason for people to stay in the area, and then bring more people in so we can grow this great part of the country.
Just a minute, and we want everybody to at least write one thing down.
Lettner says one of his ideas to address this issue is investing in housing and infrastructure. The executive director of Cherokee County Economic Development says he wants more people to know about all that Cherokee County has to offer.
We have the greatest 13.2 miles of Route 66. We have Big Brutus. We have the best hunting and fishing in the state.
Reporting in Columbus, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Well, as of 2024, Cherokee County's population is about 19,000 and Columbus's population is just over 2,800. Preparations are underway for the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce Business Expo, coming again to the Downstream Casino Resort Pavilion. That'll be on Wednesday of next week. The expo will be open to businesses only from 9 a.m. to noon and then open to the public from noon to 4. As always, the expo will showcase a wide range of area businesses. Admission is $5 for adults. Kids 5 and under get in free. Up next, Disney and Fubo are teaming up. What this merger means for streaming subscribers.
Loved one been prescribed
community service.
Well, Disney's Hulu Plus live TV service is merging with another streaming provider, Fubo. The companies say Disney will have a 70% ownership stake through the services and will continue to run under both brand names. The deal does not include Hulu's subscription video service. The two companies combined have more than 6 million subscribers. The move also allows Fubo to drop a pending lawsuit against a new joint sports streaming venture involving multiple major media providers. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. Former President Jimmy Carter returns to Washington one last time for his funeral, where many mourn and remember his legacy. Plus, President Biden has just 2 weeks left in office and is planning a few last-minute changes.
Big Bang Theory, tonight at 10:30.
Now. You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Former President Jimmy Carter's body arrived at the Capitol today, where he will lie in state as the country remembers the man once known as a Washington outsider. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more.
4 decades after leaving office, former President Jimmy Carter received a hero's welcome back to the nation's capital. Former President Jimmy Carter returning to Washington one last time. Draped in the American flag, his casket traveled from Joint Base Andrews to the U.S. Navy Memorial, and then the Capitol building, where he will now lie in state.
It's the great American story. How a man or woman can rise from humble origins to the highest levels of government or business or academia. And it was Jimmy Carter's story.
In a solemn ceremony, Vice President Kamala Harris, the Supreme Court, and members of Congress remembered the former commander-in-chief as a Washington outsider who cemented his legacy with decades of humanitarian work.
He never stopped serving others until his final day. America was lucky to have him as a citizen, as a president, and as a moral compass of our time.
The Capitol Rotunda is open to the public viewing after the service, giving folks one last chance to pay tribute.
It just sucks the wind out of you to see that 100 years is finally done, and he probably still felt like he had so much left to do.
Earlier Tuesday, Carter's casket left the Carter Center in Atlanta. He will be brought back to Georgia after a funeral at the Washington National Cathedral on Thursday, where President Biden is expected to deliver a eulogy. Carter will return to his hometown of Plains, Georgia for a private service before he's buried next to his wife of 77 years, Rosalind. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, President-elect Trump is calling the Panama Canal vital to U.S. security, criticizing Jimmy Carter for giving it away and suggesting action may be needed to protect it. Trump also highlighted Greenland's importance as his son visits the territory, praising its strategic value and announcing a $20 billion investment in U.S. data centers. He's also vowed to reverse offshore drilling bans imposed by President Biden and plans to meet with GOP leaders this week to outline his agenda. Well, the White House announced another flurry of 11th-hour executive actions by President Biden today, prompting more pushback from President-elect Trump. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more from the White House.
President Biden has just 2 weeks left in office, but he's not going out quietly. The White House announced a wave of executive actions on Tuesday, including banning drilling and mining on more than 800,000 acres of federal land, a new rule that bans medical debt from appearing on credit reports, and the transfer of 11 Guantanamo Bay detainees to Oman. The administration says the final 2 weeks of Biden's presidency will be, quote, jam-packed, prompting criticism from President-elect Trump and his transition team.
This is the Biden administration simply trying to throw a sucker punch at President Trump on Joe Biden's way out the door.
The announcements came just 1 day after Biden banned new oil and gas drilling on 625 million acres of federal waters. President-elect Trump says he'll start reversing those actions when he's sworn in, but it won't be easy.
Typically, anything done through executive action can be undone through executive action. Is it going to take some time? Absolutely.
Congressional Republicans would need to create legislation to undo at least some of this week's executive actions, but most say their top priority is passing what Trump has called a, quote, big beautiful bill to fund his agenda.
We've been working on this bill for over a year, and it's very simple. The president was very clear during the campaign what he expected expected Congress to deliver on.
The administration is also reportedly negotiating with the Taliban to exchange Americans detained in Afghanistan for a high-profile Gitmo prisoner. At the White House, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast and later changes to Meta.
Meta is scrapping its fact-checking program. I'm Grady Trimble with Fox Business in Washington. Coming up, what this and other major changes mean for you when you log into Facebook, Instagram, or Threads.
Spiva Center for the Arts.
Well, of course, a cold day outside for us today, and it's cold outside. Right now, temperatures dropping back through the teens across the region. We've had the Arctic air in place over the past couple days. We've melted off most of our snow. Even though we haven't hit freezing, the sun, it kind of energizes the snowflakes, so it allows them to melt even though it's colder than the temperature, or it's warmer than the temperature around it. Kind of weird. But yeah, we melted off most of the snow. Looks good outside for us right now, minus the temperatures. At least we're dry. 15 Nevada, 21 in Neosho, 22 in Bentonville, 23 in Miami. Chanute sitting at 18 degrees. And our wind chill factors anywhere from just below zero to just above zero by the time we get into the morning hours. But clear skies, not too much going on for us. We're tracking our next storm system spinning out across parts of Arizona and also New Mexico. Not near as strong as the storm system that just rolled through. This is a much weaker system, and we have a little upper level wave rotating into the Pacific Northwest. It will kick this guy out right into the Central Plains by the time we get into late Thursday and also on Friday. All right, let's go through time, at least for us tonight. Pretty calm. It's cold, near 10 to about 15 in our southern counties. Sunshine through the morning, lower 20s by noon. I think most of us 26, 27, 28 degrees for an afternoon high. Clouds increase for us tomorrow night into Thursday morning, so mostly cloudy, good chunk of the day on Thursday. Then Thursday afternoon, we'll start to get scattered snow showers in here. These mainly will be on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, kind of a gap of nothing in our southern counties, and then scattered showers kind of filling in across the region. So these are going to be very hit and miss, so it's kind of hard to figure out how much snow we're going to get. It's not going to be a lot. The main system is going to be tracking down across central and southern parts of Arkansas. So we are just going to get the scattered snow showers that rotate through, and most of these should be gone by the time Friday morning rolls around. So with that said, how much snow could we get? I'm going to keep these amounts pretty low. Let's go north of I-44. Minor accumulations under an inch. Dusting, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Maybe a little bit heavier if we can get some bands. Northwestern Arkansas, maybe 1, maybe an inch and a half. So these are going to be fairly low amounts, but something we're going to watch as we go through the next couple days to see if these amounts go up or down. So not a big storm system, but we should have some minor road impacts by the time we head into Thursday night and Friday morning. 27 on Wednesday, 37 on Thursday, 34 on Friday. We get to 41 Saturday and then back into the 30s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, but at least warmer than what we're seeing now, which is good news.
Yeah, I can't wait till temperatures dip back above freezing.
Yeah, it's going to be nice.
All right, look forward to Thursday. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, coming up in sports, Fort Scott girls basketball tries to remain undefeated. Plus, Pittsburgh State hosts Missouri Southern at John Lance Arena. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Dog is helping kids at school with his very own book, plus a 911 dispatcher guides a dad through the birth of his child. Join us at 7 a.m.
Well, Pittsburgh State women's basketball moves up one spot in today's Division II coaches poll. The Gorillas are ranked number 13 in the country thanks to a 12-2 start to the season. PSU is undefeated in its first 5 home games. Pittsburgh State women's basketball back at home this evening, playing host to Missouri Southern, who has won 3 in a row. Early in the second quarter, Gorillas down 3. Harper Schreiner kicks it out to Hannah Nilgis, and the transfer from Drake buries a corner 3. We'd hear more from her. Third quarter now, Lions down 6. Kennedy Roach attacks the basket, finishes through contact plus the foul. She led Southern with 20 points. A couple possessions later, Roach finds Ryan Franklin. She turns and finishes plus the foul. Lions would tie it at 50. That's the score late in the third when Nilgis finds Savannah Campbell. Back to Nilgis, and she's money once again from beyond the arc. PSU back in front. Final seconds of the third, Nilgis is somehow open again, and she buries it from the corner. She finishes with 14 points. We go ahead to the fourth quarter. Harper Schreiner tries it from 3, and why not? The 13th ranked Gorillas pull away from Missouri Southern. Pitt State wins 84-72.
I think, it's a big game, so it doesn't really take much to get motivated and want to win. And so today, it felt good to be on, but just whatever the team needed at the time. And I think we had a really good team win.
Oh, it's not about these little spurts. Like they're good. They're a good team. They're going to go on runs. It's just about staying connected, staying together, and just finding our flow and being ourselves.
Now to the men's game. Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State enter this evening with identical 7-6 records on the season. Early first half, Martin Macinas gets it in the post, and he finds the big man, Tyrone Wright, who slams home the alley-oop with authority. Lions trail by 1. A few minutes later, Avery Taggart, he transferred to Pitt State from Missouri Southern, and he hits a step-back 3 before showing some love to his former teammate. Less than 5 minutes till half. Tanner Mans has space at the top of the key, and he buries a triple. That puts the Gorillas up by 8. Lions trail by 10 with 2 minutes to go till halftime. They need points, and Macinas drains a 3 off the pick and pop. That's a big bucket. Next possession, Tyreek Brooks, the freshman from Springfield, hits a contested 2-pointer off the dribble. This would come down to the final seconds, and Missouri Southern gets a huge road victory over the Gorillas. Southern wins it 81-80. Let's take a look at a few high school scores from around the 4 states. The Fort Scott girls remain undefeated with a 15-point home win over Frontenac. Then over in Missouri, Seneca defends its home court. Indians take down Monette in a tight one. Final score is 61-54. And we close things out with some pro football news. The Las Vegas Raiders have fired their head coach Antonio Pierce. This team announces this afternoon. He's now the 6th NFL head coach to be fired since the start of the season, and Las Vegas has fired 3 head coaches in its last 4 seasons. Back to some of the college basketball I was talking about. It kind of works out well for us. Missouri Southern gets a win on the men's side. Pitt State gets a win on the women's side.
I know we can cheer for everybody that way. Got to be touchy for the guy that transferred over, though.
Yeah, very much so.
All right, thanks, John. We're back with more news after this. Meta announces major changes to its censorship policy. Fox News correspondent Grady Trimble has the details.
Meta is announcing major changes that it says will make Facebook, Instagram, and Threads places where free speech thrives. So here they are. First and foremost, Meta is ending its third-party fact-checking program in the United States, instead moving to a community notes program very similar to what you see on X right now. The company is lifting restrictions on certain topics like immigration, gender identity, and trans issues, and it's increasing political content for those users who want to see it. It's also moving its content moderation and safety teams from California to Texas to avoid political bias. In making these changes, Meta is acknowledging that too much harmless content has been censored using its automated systems. It says there was political bias through that fact-checking process. Now it's not going to use those automated systems to monitor for all policy violations, but only to scan for illegal and what it considers to be high-severity violations like terrorism, child sexual exploitation, and scams. Mark Zuckerberg announced the changes in a video posted to Instagram Tuesday morning, and in his first and only TV interview since taking the job, Meta's new head of global affairs, Joel Kaplan, blamed President Biden and his administration for trying to control content on social media.
When you have a U.S. president and administration that's pushing for censorship, it just makes it open season for other governments around the world that don't even have the protections of the First Amendment to really put pressure on U.S. companies. We're going to work with President Trump to push back on that kind of thing around the world.
Meta also announced it's adding Dana White and 2 others to its board. The UFC CEO is a close friend of President-elect Trump, so with the addition of White and Kaplan, plus these changes to content moderation, the company is clearly signaling a shift to more expression and less censorship on its platforms. In Washington, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Well, coming up, a glittering Las Vegas show comes to an end, and Pamela Anderson takes center stage in a new film about the women behind the rhinestones. The Last Showgirl, after the break. Pamela Anderson is receiving award-worthy praise for her performance in the new film, The Last Showgirl, which is in theaters this week. We spoke with Anderson, her co-stars, including Jamie Lee Curtis, and director Gia Coppola about the drama and how much it meant to them to be a part of it. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Places, please.
Pamela Anderson stars as a Las Vegas performer trying to figure out her future when her show closes after a 30-year run in The Last Showgirl.
I was able to, just really sink my teeth into this character, and I've always been fascinated by the women in Las Vegas. Who are the women holding up the rhinestones? It was wonderful to be able to play that kind of character, that three-dimensional character, or all the different layers of womanhood and how we balance so many things. I feel like after this film, I can breathe. I feel like I got to do something I'm really proud of.
The film follows a group of showgirls at different stages of their lives.
I joined up to be in the movie because Pam was going to be Shelley. I just said yes. But when I obviously read it, what is beautiful is that it is all these different generations of women in Las Vegas trying to hustle a life.
I play someone who's 19, so I kind of created a whole backstory for her that she's the newest kind of the showgirls. So I definitely came at it from that lens.
The female-driven story with different generational perspectives translated off camera too.
It was really easy for us to kind of just jump into these characters, and this sort of dynamic just happened really naturally.
So much of our crew and everyone behind the camera was female, and it wasn't an intentional sort of preconceived idea. I think because of that, it added such a level of transparent kind of creativity and an effortlessness that we could really talk about these characters who I think we all know in front of, behind the camera, and can relate to.
Feeling seen, feeling beautiful, that is powerful.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of pandas playing in the snow at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.